Welcome to A Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach with Mark Gellard and Candy Reid, sponsored by the ERT 300. Welcome to the latest edition of Diary of a Professional Tennis Coach, sponsored by the ERT 300. And I'm delighted to say that Mark Gellard is alongside me, Candy Reid, and also Magda Linette. Magda, thank you very much for your time. I know you've just got a few minutes. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's nice to be here, but to be honest, Mark blackmailed me.
How did he blackmail you? You've got to tell us all now.
I'll run extra if I don't do it tomorrow, so I'd rather do it.
The reality is she's been
last time.
Yeah, she's been begging me to come on for ages. She's like, when are you going to invite me? Candy never invites me, so here you go.
All right, Magda, I'll make sure I invite you every week. You're always welcome. Let's start with you, Magda, because, of course, you're the most important of the three of us. I think we all acknowledge that. Where are you? How are you doing? And what's the immediate future look like?
We're good. Hua-Hin playing second round tomorrow. Had a tough one yesterday, but yeah, really glad to get that win after like 2 times facing less and losing in 3 sets. It was nice to get finally a revenge, let's say it like that. But it was good to have a really good 2-set win.
Yeah, this is against Lesia Tsurenko. All the players, Magda, tell us that the first round is the toughest. Why is that?
I think you're still looking for like your rhythm a little bit. You're getting used to conditions. You don't know a little bit what to expect. Like, you know what you did on a practice, but still in a stressful situation, it is a little bit different. So I think always you want to play your best. You don't always can. And I think like on the matches, it's a little bit more difficult to accept. So I think like once you get the rhythm going and kind of get your confidence going as well with a couple of good, let's say, at first games and sets and matches, then like you're just growing how the tournament is going.
And you, of course, like Hua-Hin, don't you? Because you won the title there. What's it like being the Asian swing? We're hearing about a lot of players sort of complaining about how congested the schedule is. Do you feel the same?
Not so much. I feel like it could be a bit smarter schedule with traveling. I'm not a big fan of such a massive travel from like Mexico to China, so that's why I skipped last year Guadalajara, because it was just crazy to travel from so far to Asia. So I think like it could have been resolved a little bit different and make it a little bit of a tour in South America, because those tournaments are so nice. So it's kind of a shame that they don't really get their own kind of small swing. Let's put it that way, especially that at the very end of Asian swing, we still have Merida 250, which is a nice tournament, and it's just like one off. So it's kind of, I feel ashamed because those people put so much hard work to put those tournaments together, and just because of a little bit of weird scheduling and in which weeks those tournaments are, I feel they're just being a bit left without like bigger players. So I feel like I do like Asia. I lived here for 6 years, so I'm used to China. I kind of like warm conditions, and I always played well here, so I kind of like this swing. It's always quite tough, but I do like the swing, and I think like if you schedule it quite smart and let some things go and don't go on every single one, it's not too crazy.
Yeah, that's a fair point. How is the food there? We had your chef from Wimbledon on a few weeks ago. Be interesting to see what you thought of the food, just to follow up on that latest podcast, and hopefully our viewers and listeners, if they haven't seen or heard that one before, they can go back and listen. But he was quite interesting to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I loved the experience. I'm a massive foodie, so for me, it was brilliant. Really. Yeah, it was the best day. I mean, I wish that he would come over more often, to be honest. That would be tough to keep the same weight, not to gain weight, but yeah, I loved it. And here, I kind of like it. I mean, you get used to it to me, when you kind of get used to that, some things are just done a little bit different, but the flavors, in general, the cuisine, I do like Asian food in general, like Thai, I like Japanese, I like Chinese food. So I think if you get a little bit of an experience and you know what you're getting, you're not really surprised that not everything is as we kind of are used to. Then I think it's nice. It's fine. I think in China it's a little bit more difficult because oftentimes you just need help. You need somebody from China helping you because all the menu, everything is in Chinese. So unless you know a couple words, and that's already really difficult, you just need help. So I think if you go with somebody, and you tell them what you like, what you don't like, and they can just help you order, or you just prepare a little bit in advance, then it's okay. But you definitely need more help. I feel like Thailand or Japan are really easy and great, and so many great restaurants. So
Okay.
other countries are quite easy.
The hospitality that you get in Asia, whether it's Thailand, Japan, Korea, China, is 10 times better than any event that England runs. I mean, really, I mean, just the overall quality of the player services, the hotel quality, the food. I mean, it's incredible to me that anyone can complain about what you get in Asia compared to what you get in England or France.
I think it's just like how nice people are and how much they're trying to make everything better. Because obviously, not everything is great. Everybody makes mistakes, and not everything is smooth. But just like how much they're desperate to make everything great and correct and make things better, and are willing to and open to any kind of, let's put it, criticism or suggestion, and how nice they are. I think that's one, like that's a big difference to me. And it's weird because not everybody's saying it this way. I think because of the language and cultural barrier, but people in general are so polite and they're really trying to make our experience here better. Right?
Yeah, I think they're really great here in Asia. With they're happy to have, the tournament is they're really happy and excited to host you rather than you being an inconvenience to them. And that makes a big difference to the players. You feel it. Really overall, I mean, I think it's the only part I think this players struggle with the Asian swing is just that it's at the end of the year, right? So everyone's tired, everyone's beat up, everyone's injured, everyone's ready for sort of that break. It just happens to be that this is the end of the year. That's and it's in Asia. Whereas if this was the European swing, I think it would be everyone struggling with the same issues.
Mm.
Are a bit struggling with the language, but almost like when you're in the US, you can just go and just things way easier than here. So even if it's ordered for getting food or being in China, I think China in general is the one that people struggle with the most.
I don't think it's much better in France, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. But I think like China is even more difficult because you don't have internet. It's not that easy
Yeah,
to
there's
get and as much as people are nice, it just a little bit like you feel like it's just tougher because you really can't get anything. Like it's tough. Like you can't really get an Uber. It's not that easy to get used to, especially if you didn't live there for a bit.
But then you say that I agree, but for every negative there, you go back to Eastbourne, for example, this year where the hotels are 400 years old. There's no AC this year, right, in the hotel, and it was very hot in England during the summer this year. So you had no AC. The food wasn't great. You go to Rouen 250, which we lost in the final to Sloane. You have to pay for your transport to and from the airport to the tournament. No one's picking you up there. So here it's a 3-hour drive from Bangkok airport to Hua-Hin, but they pick you up in a fantastic party bus that has TVs in it and lights, everything. But they pick you up in that, and that's all included, right? That's free. That's part of their cost that they take in that cost. So I think for me it's very hard to criticize this tour, and always the money is excellent in China as well, right? The money that they put up is great.
I'm sensing quite a lot of negativity with Mark and British tournaments, Magda. So maybe
It's Europe in
you should
general. I'm over
you should
Europe.
leave him in the US.
Yeah.
Besides Wimbledon, really, I don't feel in the UK safe at all. Like nothing.
Oh.
Like never locks me out of the hotel because we had triple murder last year. That was right outside our hotel.
That was the terrible incident in
Yeah.
Nottingham, right? You remember that
Nottingham.
was outside our hotel.
But it's like if you walk like in the evening, honestly, like it's scary. Like like I'm usually not very scared to walk outside, but this is like comparing to almost any, like I'm not scared to go out anywhere else as I am in there. Like it's honestly scary. And 2 years ago I had
You had an incident. Let's just leave it
I
at
had
that.
an incident in the lobby of my hotel where a man was kind of dragged up and quite aggressive, which was scary because it's like it's a tournament hotel, and it happened that he was on drugs and just went a little bit crazy. But I was waiting because my key card wouldn't work, so I wanted to get a new one. Like, what can you do? Like, you're in that situation, which never happened to me almost anywhere else. And it's like every time it's in Nottingham.
Birmingham.
I mean, Birmingham, it's not safe either, really.
It's not our favorite. You can tell.
No, you don't like it at all.
Yeah, it's sad because it's just like really like scary to be.
I think we're just very big advocates of Asia because there's so many positives here. You know, whether it's the great prize money, the hospitality. You know, China. We lived 5-6 years in China, and you know, you have there's very little violence in China. There's really no problems. You know, you could walk around at 3 in the morning in the center of Beijing and you're not going to really encounter any issues. So for players, I don't see that much downside. Good money, nice hospitality, safe, great hotels, and cheap.
I think people really complain about it. It's really not that bad. That's I think what we're trying to say. That it really is not for us. Like the environment they're building around us is really not that bad. They're really trying for us. So the quality of events is usually really nice. I think what they can control, because they can't really 100% control air pollution, for example, or that internet and some websites are blocked. It's just the country that they happen to be in. But whatever they can control, they really try to make the best they can.
Yep. Well, that's good. And Magda, after Hua-Hin, then where do you go?
China.
Specifically?
Yeah, it's Beijing, Wuhan, probably Ningbo, Guangzhou, and then we'll see if it's Hong Kong or Zhejiang.
Okay. And then I've just done Davis Cup for the men, and I saw that you're in the Davis Cup for the women, which will be in Malaga. So that's where you'll finish your season?
Yeah, so I'm gonna still go to Malaga. We play our first match on 13th against Spain in Spain.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's where we're gonna finish our year.
Okay. And we're running the banner at the bottom about your foundation, Magda, which is relatively new. Perhaps you could just tell everybody about that if they don't already know.
Hold on, I'm going to do a close-up. Look, now it's all about move into the middle, Magda. Now.
Yeah, we started a foundation. Actually, like we started it almost a year ago, building it. So it came to life in March, eventually, and what we're trying to do is to help kids get education through sports. So any kind of really education, even if it's around sport, outside of sport, languages, we're going to try to provide as much of that as we can to be a bridge to that to kids, for kids that they can just get a better education, or just maybe go to college or help them, or just try to guide them there. And so they can still continue sports. So we really would like that they can continue doing sports, and especially during that time. It's really difficult when they finish around 12 to 16, when they don't know what to do, to help them to continue doing it at the lowest cost as possible, hopefully. And then also kind of you don't really have to be a pro player, but this sport can give you so much more than just being a professional tennis player. You can go to college, you can get an amazing degree, you can have an amazing experience really in college. And then just because you did sports for so long, you get experience in it and you can be a coach. There's so many other choices of professions that you can go to. So I would like to show that as well, that not only to go pro is the only way, but there's so many more ways that sport can really help you with. And we ran our first Kids Day in July, 170 kids. Which was really, really amazing. We had some amazing partners and sponsors and amazing guests. We had Lukasz Kubek coming over to help. Mark was helping, Ian was helping. So everybody was like really hands-on on things. It was stressful, but it was really, really a great day. Yeah, we were really happy how it all went through. And I hope that it can be an annual thing. So let's hope for that. And let's see
it's a big deal.
What next projects we can start.
It's really good, Magda, because I mean, obviously you're really busy. You're traveling all over the world, and then this doesn't take a day or two to organise, does it? It's a massive undertaking for you all, but it's obviously very important.
It was. I mean, I had a ton of help from other people, but like for example, even the scheduling, like how to put the groups, because like I was actually grouping everything and was putting like who's gonna do what at which time. So I actually like put the whole timetable in each group, in each bracket, who's gonna go to make sure that every group can go through all of us through all the stations. So I was like doing my own kind of Sudoku kind of thing to make sure everything fits in, that everybody has a 15-minute break. Yeah, so I was doing that in like in a 3-hour flight. I was just putting dots to make sure it all works out, and it did at the end. My mom was the one guiding everyone like every 15 minutes, so each group changes, which she did amazing. I think that was one of the toughest things to do, to make sure that this group goes to the proper station at the proper time, and she really made it. She didn't make any mistakes. So yeah, so that was really good. And as I said, we had so much help and so many amazing people that came and gave us some gifts for kids, books for kids, bottles, backpacks, food. Also got speakers and cords. My club gave us the whole club for free for the whole day, which is unbelievable. We had my sponsors also stepped up. We had Homo giving shirts and hats, and Units gave out rackets and other equipment. So it was really a team effort, and I was really moved that so many people were willing to help.
Magda, one more question for you. I was interested by this because I was hearing a quote by the US gymnast Shawn Johnson, and she said that a Chinese coach in Des Moines, Iowa, had a gym near her. He opened one, and her parents, as a consequence, switched to him and his gym to save petrol money, and he just happened to be the best coach around. And because he had the gym close to her house, she started working with him and then became a gold medalist in gymnastics. And I wondered if in your career at any point you'd had one of those kind of sliding moments which had helped you have the career you've had.
I think I had so many moments like that, like and so many also coincidences, or just somebody happened to be there. So I feel there are so many. I think it would be a very long answer to that question, but putting it shortly, I feel like sometimes it's a pure accident. Sometimes who's where. Like I think like even me starting with Mark I've never heard of him. I've actually haven't seen him.
How's that possible?
The best day of your life, wasn't it?
First 3-4 weeks before I noticed him in the academy in Guangzhou when I first met him. For first 3-4 weeks during preseason, I didn't even notice that he was there. So it was just a pure coincidence that he happened to know Alan from a very long time ago. We met Alan, the owner of the academy in China, but also kind of pure accident in a tournament in Kuala Lumpur a couple years before that. And then after 2-3 years of being in the same academy, we just happened to work as we got connected. But I feel like it was still kind of an accident how it all happened. Like it's just small decision here and there that we would never really meet, as we were like really also when we tried to analyze the tournaments where we've been throughout our careers, we've been missing each other all the time. So it was kind of on one hand funny we actually never met before. And just starting my career in general, my dad happened to play tennis and be a tennis coach. So another kind of, maybe it's meant to be, maybe not, but I'm not sure if my parents would choose tennis as my path if my dad were not, if he wasn't a tennis coach. So I think it oftentimes it just happens. I also spoke to Magda once, and she said that by pure accident she was going back from school and she happened to just be passing by tennis courts and she saw other kids playing and she was passing by every single day, and then just asked her parents if they can sign her up because that was her path from school to home. So she just happens to see that, like maybe if she would be taking different roads, she would never really get a passion for it. So I think oftentimes it's not really planned. Maybe it was planned by my dad, or they asked him. But I feel like oftentimes it's just a little bit of coincidence, then a lot of good luck as well, a lot of good things that needs to happen around, so it all can come together then and work out or not.
But so much of this is, I think, circumstance, isn't it? It's the environment, because I remember growing up, we lived next to a tennis club. If that had been a golf course, I probably would have been playing golf and probably involved in golf.
Much better.
It'd be much better. It would have been a better life. I would have been richer and happier. If it had been a basketball club behind, I wouldn't have played basketball. I would have just watched them from the sideline. Yeah, I would have been the I would have, I don't know what I would have done there, but not be in the team, that's for sure. But I think so many of these girls, they all, or guys on the tour, they have a story, right, where it's live next to the club. The dad, TFO, his dad worked at a tennis club doing something, and everyone's got like that. I think it's so much in probably you in journalism, right? It happened that something it's usually a connection somewhere. So there's so many of it. There's those, like you said, sliding door moments.
Mine was a weird one because I was in a hotel in Uzbekistan playing a 25K in Tashkent and started watching CNN, and I had that moment where I thought, that's what I want to do. Bonkers.
It's funny how those moments stick with you, and I think so much for coaching is you feel you failed as a player, right? It's ultimately we failed as players.
Yes.
And the next best thing is, well, I'll coach, because I want to stay involved in the sport, but I can't do it as a player. And that's a lot of the drive and the passion, I think, comes from that. Whereas a lot of the players that have succeeded, Federer and these guys, I don't know if they're going to want to come back as coaches. They've already done everything in the sport they can. So,
and I think often the best coaches, and not always, but often, like in football, the best coaches actually weren't the best players, were they? Because they look at the game slightly differently, and it didn't come that easily.
When did you decide to be?
When?
Yeah, when was your sliding?
I remember playing a college. I remember sliding door moment. Yeah. I remember playing a college match in my junior year, and it was an important match. And I remember specifically playing this guy who was much better than me, but I was beating him. I was bringing him down to my level, and he came in and he missed the ball he shouldn't have missed. And instead of being real happy that I'd won the point, which I wanted to tell him why he'd missed the point, why he'd lost the point, and what he'd done wrong. That was sort of this little voice inside of me saying, this guy could be really good if he just knew how to do this and that. And I remember thinking, well, I remember me and a friend said, we're going to go play pro tournaments for 6 months and give ourselves a chance to see how far we can go. And we decided it would be a good idea as two English guys that played college tennis to go and play ITFs on clay in Spain and Austria, which was not a great scheduling decision, and lost first round of qualies. And I remember telling him after the match, I said, Dave, this guy is unbelievable. He's the best. I've never seen anyone play this well. He's unbelievable. He's going to win the tournament. He lost next round in qualies 2-1. And I thought, yeah, maybe I don't need 6 months to figure out that I'm not going to be a pro tennis player. I'll just cut it short at five months and 2 weeks in. Don't need to waste that time and money. So
Good
yeah, it was
decision, Mark,
pretty easy. Quick decision.
and good one. Yeah, I think most players
Very
have
much.
something like that. I think it's always interesting to look back and see the ones who made it. Because Magda, you probably played with a lot of people when you were younger who were terrific, and you thought absolutely they're going to make it, and they actually didn't go anywhere close to making it. Where you overseeded them quite quickly and then went to another level.
Actually, I'm not sure. I think like majority of the girls, I thought that they can go. Maybe I thought that they can go further, but they still kind of made it. Like if I think about it,
Okay.
because me growing up from really young age, I was still kind of near both sisters, Radwanska sisters. So they were like I already saw them, and like I happened to be on the same tournaments, but they were already so good. And they've been like everybody was saying how good they are, and then like my age or age a bit older when the girls were quite good, they still kind of made it really, really far. I wouldn't say they made as far as everybody was hoping for, but they still kind of made it still. I didn't have too many surprises within my own, I would say, in my country. There were a couple, of course, but not as surprising. I think from the outside, probably in juniors, there were a couple that we can probably bring up that, yeah, it was surprising they didn't really do as much as everybody thought.
I always remember Yishi Lehechka saying that the reason Czech tennis is so good is because they all belong in the Czech Republic, or Czechia as we now have to call it. They all belong to certain clubs, and they see kind of the likes of Thomas Berdych and Petra Kvitova wandering around, and they're all playing with each other. The older ones play with the younger ones and vice versa. And it makes the younger kids coming up feel like they are kind of part of it, and they understand what it takes to get there. Is that true in Poland?
Not as much. We don't have really the same kind of, I would say, first of all, structure, because in Czechia they have unbelievable tennis structure in general. Like I've never seen anyone being as this good in the world, really. How good they are, like the whole system is so well done. They have quite a lot of money in it, but just how they do it and like how much they're able to produce with how many people they're bringing in, it's really something unbelievable.
But I don't think the problem in England, I think, is when you look at the past players we've had, I don't see any of them on a really serious scale coming back into the sport after they finished. So you look at Tim Henman and Greg Rosetsky, and Andy will be one of them now, and all these ex-players that we had, whether it was Miles McClagan, Arvin Palmer, all these guys, Alex Bogdanovic, great players. I don't see them coming back to the clubs and being part of it. I don't blame them if there's no money in it and they've got to do their own thing. But Henman does commentary and some things like that, and he's very good at it. Mark Petchy does great commentary. He's really good at it, but not really in the day-to-day stuff. They're not out there. Whereas when we play in Prague, in the tournament actually that Magda won a couple of months ago, when you're out there, most years that we're at that tournament, you have everyone out there from Radek Stepanek to Thomas Berdych, Lucy Safarova, Barbara Stritskova's there. They're just walking around. They're part of it. They're even warming up some of the younger players that are getting ready to play in the qualies of the tournament. I don't think you have that in England. I don't even know if you have it in the States.
But also the leagues that they built up, they're the strongest in the world. Like you have still, like in December, you have club leagues, and you have all the Grand Slam champions playing them. It's like as strong as almost 1,000 events, because you have like always Petra Kvitova playing, Marketa Vondrushova playing, both sister, Pliskova's sister playing, Muchova playing. Like,
I mean,
you go on. They go and play, and you're like top 50, and you're still sitting on a bench because you're nowhere near to really be able to play.
But even it baffles me that Germany and France and some of these other countries, I think Italy and Spain as well, but mainly Germany and France, have these club matches, club leagues, where there's very, very big money on the line for players that are top 100 to go and play in the summers and in winters. And Magda's been asked to do some of those in Germany and France over the off season. And it amazes me that the UK doesn't have anything. You know, that there's literally just that 5-week block or so in England during the summer, and then outside of that, there's really nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't see how I don't see how we have a culture. There's no culture
It's,
of tennis in England.
they are trying. There's a UK Pro League, and Barry Fulcher also has started a league up to try and stop that problem, try and give English players a little bit more opportunity and British players in the country, but it's not set up like it is in Czechia, that's for sure. Yeah, it's really interesting how they've got it so worked out, haven't they? But I suppose it's years and years of progress in that regard, and they've seen it come to fruition many, many times. And also in Italy, they have it. Paolo Lorenzi was in our commentary booth during the Davis Cup. He retired at 39, I think, at the US Open, but he just said how brilliant it is in Italy. It's kind of a 20-year progression, though. That's how long they've been working on it. And now, of course, Italy are, well, dominating on the men's side and doing very well on the women's side as well.
We talked about it before on here that I can't remember which one of the guests talked about it, but that they have a 24-hour tennis channel in Italy now, right?
There's just it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and it just shows all of the ITF, the futures, the challengers, the old satellites, what they would have been.
It's super tennis, right?
Yeah,
super tennis. They had 3 channels when I was over there. I watched Bronzetti and Trevisan and all the Davis Cup that I'd already watched that day. You could just watch it all over again. It was unbelievable.
And that's what it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in England. They don't have that. Like you said, it can't be changed overnight. But I think that the LTA there's a lot of flaws in the system, and I'm not saying there's a panacea that will fix all the problems, but there's a definite. I don't see anything changing, and I think they're making some fundamental mistakes within the infrastructure there.
What about in Poland, Magda? Because you've got 3 women in the top 50 in WTA. Magda Frank, as you know, just won a 500 level tournament, and then there's you and Iga. So what are they doing so right in Poland? And cut.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, much. We won't go into that. Not much. It's just
fortunate. We don't really have a system at all. We don't have even a national place where we can go and practice. So we don't have a national center. So I think we're very, very fortunate, and I hope that we can utilize it and build something on it, because like when I go back, like there's really nothing. It's all basically all private. There is some help that we get from association, but here and there. And I think the league we had, but it's not really working out as they planned. But they just started it as well a couple of years ago. But we don't really have a great system in place. So I think we are very fortunate. But every single person kind of made it on their own. They had good coaches. They had parents that took care of them, and coaches that sacrificed a lot. And so I think we're just very fortunate.
Yeah, it's just incredible, given you've said that. Magda, just remind us about your foundation, how people can get some information.
So they can follow the website, but also we're on Instagram and Facebook. So we're trying to now build a new program with education that we hope is going to start this fall. So if you just follow our social media or the website, you can find out.
What is the name of the website for people listening that can't see?
Linette Foundation.
LinetteFoundation.com. And on Instagram, it's
Linette Foundation.
Same.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much.
My social media channels, you can find it there as well.
Great. We managed to get through the entire interview without saying the word beaver, so that was good.
Oh my God. X-rated channel here.
Our listeners and hosts and watchers will have to go back to a previous podcast with Magda to find out why that was funny. Yes. All right. Magda and Mark, brilliant luck in Hua-Hin. Well done for beating Lesia Sorenko. Here's to many more victories. And I shall see you in Beijing. I'll be there.